Hey, noble ones, here is your daily drama. As I've noted many times on this channel, Afrocentrists are a specific kind of people who tend to live in a fantasy world of their own creation. Now, normally this factual statement of mine has mostly to do with their interpretation of history. But what's actually funny is that today you will see that what I just said, when it comes to at least some Afrocentrists, doesn't just involve history. It involves the very fabric of reality itself. This is a channel called The King's Monologue, which is a creator with whom I have clashed already several times over the years. Sometimes it was very respectful, other times not so much, and unfortunately this is one of those, the latter. He has recently had a live stream, which is 3 hours and 10 minutes long. Of course, I'm not going to watch the whole thing. I mean, you're going to pay me to do that. But that's interesting. I want you to focus on this. Of course, I'm on this thumbnail, I suppose. I'm the guy on the right. Apparently me, Nerdrotic, and whoever else, we are hateful, angry, and so wrong. And I mean, if that's in teal of all colors. Let's see these attacks on the argument, right? Because if he is so confident in his sources and understanding of the ancients and historical preparation, he's not gonna need to call me anything, am I right?
Because the justification for that claim is just racism. That's all it is. It's just racism. Yeah? They're racist, okay? And they are Metatron because he's just become a disgusting bigot and a racist.
Oh, brother. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Racist. Yes. Yes, he called me a racist. Yeah. I won. How much money did I win for that bet? Woohoo! Yes, yeah. I'll collect cash, please. Thank you. Yes, all cash. I'm a cash boy. Love it. The physicality of it, the heft. You make it in British pounds, please. Yeah, pound sterling. Why? Okay, now, this is fantasy on 2 levels. Level number 1, he calls us racists. That's already false. We already know that. But I love that he says that Helen of Congo has allegedly backfired on me. But look at the title, because this is fascinating. Look at the title. Why calling her Helen of Congo has backfired on the racists. Why? It's people love it. People freak. You know what? Prove me right, noble ones. Can you please spam Helen of Congo in the comments? Everyone loves that. They love it. They freaking love it. So what are you on about? How did it backfire? Do you see what I mean? They make it all up. It's all false. It's a fabrication. They take reality. People like him take reality. And by the way, by people, I mean Afrocentrists. Not black people, unfortunately, I have to underline because this clown is going to say, by people, you mean black people? No, I mean you. Your type of thought processes and cultist beliefs. You take reality, you morph it into an unrecognizable, shapeless mess that you would love reality to be, and then you pretend that that's real. That's what you do with the sources, that's what you do with the ancient Latin and Greek and whatever the heck, and that's what you do with history, and that's what you do with this, because it's not true. People love it. Helen of Congo. Now, you may have noticed the guy on the left is Al Jokes. I actually reacted to him. His video was hilarious. But I want you to see this. This is from later on this video, but it's crucial. It's critical. Hear what the King's monologue just confessed to the whole world. Check this out.
For obvious reasons, but on top of unsubscribing, I also put him on this thumbnail just to show a little bit of, throw a little bit of hate his way. I didn't want to get away with it.
To throw hate his way. So you support harassing creators with whom you disagree with. I'll show you how it's done. To my audience, please don't go and harass this man on my behalf. I rebuke and scold anyone who does this. Don't do it. Do it in my comment section so I get the engagement, by the way. But don't go to his channel and start calling him stuff, and particularly racist stuff, but in general, just don't. I do not agree, and in fact I condemn any form of harassment of any creator that I react with, regardless of how much I freaking hate their words. That's how it's done.
It's just racism, yeah? Metatron, who has very clumsily coined the term Helen of Congo.
I'm so proud of that, and he's so upset because of it.
So he's a guy who was completely fallen out of my graces now. I was just kind of like letting him slide, but now I think I'm gonna go full war
Scorched Earth because he said Helen of Congo. I'll get back to that.
mode on Metatron because he's just become a disgusting bigot and a racist.
Yeah.
So we've got Metatron on the right. We've got a guy.
Wait a minute. I need to kind of comment on that, guys. So let me get this straight. Let me get this straight, Unconquerable Mind. So I'm a disgust, not just a bigot. I leveled up. Guys. I want this on my resume. I want this on my CV. Linguist, this and that, and disgusting bigot and a racist. Why? Because I said Helen of Congo. It's a joke, by the way, but so I said, let me get this straight. I said Helen of Congo for Lupita Nyong'o, who's not from Congo. You know what? Why don't you do the same? Do the same to me. No, I mean it. King's monologue. Say a Metatron of Portugal. Metatron of Lisbon. Does that make you a disgusting bigot racist? I would have nothing. I think it's based. I think I will, okay, well, I'm not originally from Portugal, but if someone said Metatron of Portugal, I'd be like, yeah, sure, cool. Based. Who cares? Who cares? It's not. How is that the one thing that flipped you completely? And Metatron of Spain. Oh, see, I did it to myself. Does that make me anti-white now? I'm confused. Metatron of Lyon, France. Oh no, because she's not originally from Congo, but Metatron said, why do you think? Oh, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. Bro, it's a joke. It's a joke. There's nothing racist about saying Helen of Congo, which I'm gonna say now 50 times on this video, by the way, because I live in America, and here we don't get arrested for speech like people do in the UK. But this isn't even ugly speech. How is it racist? In the worst case scenario, maybe she could find it disrespectful, I guess. Although then again, I don't see how it's disrespectful to say Metatron of Portugal. No, really, hear me out. So what? That's where you draw the line? What this reveals is that to this man, anything is racist. But before we continue, let's have a word from today's sponsor. Recently, a jury ordered Meta and YouTube to pay millions for their role in designing and promoting addictive platforms. They knew their platforms could contribute to anxiety, depression, and body image issues, but did not share those risks while prioritizing profits. The recent historic verdict underscores the consequences of those decisions. If you or your child spent years growing up on social media and experienced serious mental health struggles, you should hear this. Morgan & Morgan is stepping up to hold these platforms accountable for the harm they caused. You can use the link in my description or scan the QR code to take a short quiz to see if you qualify for a case. You may be entitled to a potential recovery of up to $1,000. Let's click it, shall we?
Name was, and I was.
Now, I want you to see this, because this is phenomenal. This is gonna be great. This is gonna be great, guys. Now, of course, he's making another live stream as we speak, all about, and obviously all they're gonna do is call me a racist. We know that because it's the only thing they can do. Honestly, prove me wrong, King's monologue. Let's see.
Topic at hand,
please.
I wasn't going to tackle this. This is my total honest kind of like response in regards to this topic. So there's a new movie that should be coming out in July called The Odyssey.
It's a disgrace.
It's directed by Christopher Nolan, who's an excellent director. Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan.
Please pronounce it correctly. It's Nolan.
Who's an excellent director. Who's done everything from Batman to Inception, and he's doing his version of The Odyssey. Now, if you was to ask me what is The Odyssey, I think that's a very valid question, because in as much as modern critics want to claim this is about the protection of the IP, the racial IP, the racial intellectual property of a time-worn, forlorn, handed down story that's handed down from generation to generation.
I can already feel the disrespect to the Greeks right there, the contempt.
The Odyssey isn't that, okay? No. The Odyssey is Greek mythology that really is only...
Oh, so you're an ignorant as well on top of this. You don't know the historical foundation behind the... Oh, he's going the same way as Lupita Nyong'o. It's all a myth. Who cares? Of course, he would never do this if it was a Nigerian myth reinterpreted by white actors.
Known by people who have some kind of interest or knowledge in the classics. It's not something that you're taught really at primary school or secondary school.
Yes, you are in Italy.
As a part of your history courses. Maybe if you took, I don't know, maybe like if you took like philosophy, I don't know if there's some crossover there.
Literature.
But it's one of those things where you have to kind of like want to interact with it to know it. And I would say this is even the same with the Iliad. So
basically, you're downplaying the entirety of the contribution of ancient Greece. Oh my gosh. Yeah, of course you are.
To be very clear, Homer wrote 2 works. Well, he wrote 8 works, but we only have, I think, 2 of them. And the 2 works that we have are the Iliad and the Odyssey. The Iliad is the story of Troy. Okay, and now most people know the story of Troy because it was handed down and people read stories to them and no, none of that. Most people know the story of Troy because of the recent movie.
That's not true. Oh my gosh, maybe that's the case in the UK. I don't know how it is in the USA, but in Europe, where, the story originated, as much as you hate that probably, but in Europe, where the story originated, in Italy, in Greece, I don't know, let me know if you're from Spain, from France. We study this at school. It's part of the normal curriculum all the way back into middle school. 12-year-olds know the Odyssey and the Iliad. So talk for yourself, just so you know. They know it because of the movie. Goodness gracious.
Okay. That's the reason why 95% of modern culture even know the story of Troy, because we had that movie released in the early 2000s, I believe, with Brad Pitt. Okay. And as a result of there being a movie, everybody knows the story of Troy. Now, before the movie, everybody had heard of Achilles. I'm not going to disagree with that. Most people knew the story of Achilles.
Okay.
But most people didn't really know the story of the Trojan Wars.
Sounds like projection.
And the Iliad and the fall of Troy.
If you're Greek, could you please respond to this? Thank you. In the comments.
All of this stuff. Most people didn't really know that story. And even, to be honest, now that the movie has passed and a lot of people have watched it, most of them still don't really know the story of the Iliad. Now I happen to have a copy of the Iliad right here. Okay.
Do you have a copy of Black Athena?
I don't have a copy of the Odyssey. I have a copy of the Iliad right here. I don't know why I've got that letter sticking out of it. Yeah, so I've got a copy of the Iliad right here. I don't have a copy of the Odyssey. Okay. And I only have a copy of the Iliad because essentially I'm an independent researcher and an independent historian. So, hey, it's of some interest to me. Do I expect this to be commonplace reading on people's shelves?
In Italy, yes. Every single Italian has a copy of Dante's Inferno, by the way. In every household.
No, not really. Okay, I don't think it's going to be common.
I'm interested to see where he's going with this because it's irrelevant. Even if this were true, and the majority of people didn't even know what the Odyssey and the Iliad were, that doesn't excuse misinterpretation, appropriation, and deletion of the original. Like, it doesn't matter. So what's the criteria? What's the criterion here is what I'm trying to understand. If something is not popular, then you can take it and steal it from the original people who made it, destroy it, even though, once again, there is a whole country of Greece, at least, that is not happy about that, and it doesn't matter. I thought these people were all about minorities. You're literally saying, if it's a minority, it doesn't matter. Wonderful.
Place reading. And I'd say very much the same thing with the Odyssey. Some people will know it. Someone's just said, and let me give a shout out to Just Be Know. How you doing, my brother?
Look, and it's funny because it's not just my audience. His audience disagrees. Check the super chat.
Someone's just said, and let me give a shout out to Just Be Know. How you doing, my brother? Thank you very much for a $2 donation. He said, in the US, we all read the Odyssey in high school. I said,
uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, sounds like you're talking out of your ass, doesn't it? We'll get used to it because that's how he interprets the sources, by the way. He just makes up something from his point of view, and then people are like, brother, that's not true. And then, I mean, he's not going to call that guy racist, but he just called him his brother, but he will call you racist, as you know.
Well, you're very fortunate. In the UK, we did not. And I would say it all depends on where you've been schooled. If you're, maybe it's a really important piece of literature.
Yeah, in the entirety of Europe, that is. Thank you. For the UK, I would strongly suggest them to do it, but it doesn't surprise me because of the decolonization, right?
In the US, in the UK, not so much. Once
Right.
again, so this is one of the.
Is this even true for the UK? Because I don't believe a word from this guy anymore. So if you're from the UK, is this true? No one knows what the story of the Odyssey, and no one knows what the heck the Iliad is if you're in England? Or is this just him? Because he didn't give a fuck, because he doesn't care about ancient Greece? I wonder. We'll get Scotland Yard on that one.
These kind of like pieces that people will know or people won't know. People will, regard or people won't regard. And there's no shame on you if you don't know the story of the Odyssey.
Of course.
But everyone's got to act like it's this really important story now.
What it is, it's part of the foundation of the core principles of the West, Greco-Roman civilization. It is important. You're benefiting from it. You live in the West. But anyways.
And that's kind of like the first thing I feel like we need to have a discussion about. Is like, really? Is it? It's Greek mythology. It's like, is it really important? Is it really
important enough for you guys to try and steal it? I have a question for you, King's Monologue. Is African mythology important? Or is it okay to say who gives a fuck? Which is basically what you're doing with ancient Greek mythology. And again, it's not just mythology. So please educate yourself next time before you speak, because the city of Troy exists. It's been located. We have the ruins of it. Have you ever even looked into the imperial archive records of the Hittites that mention pretty much everything that has been talked about in the Odyssey and the Iliad? With the names transliterated into their own cuneiform script. Did you even look into this before saying, it's just a myth, who cares? But even if it was just a myth, who cares? Do you also say that about African myths? Or do they matter? I think I would never dream to say African myths don't matter. Of course they matter. They matter to the local populations. If anything, I could find it intriguing if you told me, hey, there is this myth about this god or these gods and this hero of Western Africa. I'll be like, alright, tell me about it. I'm interested. I wouldn't say, what's that? Who cares? Little, means nothing. No one knows about it. But I'm the racist, am I right, boys?
Really, all of those things? I'm not sure. Okay. Now, that being said, I would like to get into the crux of this because, like I said, I want to respond to it, but this seems to be going from strength to strength in terms of the negative kickback about really people are making it about, oh, I don't like the costumes, I don't like this, I don't like that. Oh, they're not being historically accurate. Being historically accurate about Greek mythology since
he's still. Being historically accurate about Greek mythology, you're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing yourself, unconquerable mind. Do the research. Mythology, apart from the fact that everyone who has studied this, contrary to you, knows that it's part myth, part history. Given the historical bubble in which everything has been compressed and encapsulated in, it's about 200 to 300 years. While as you read the story, it sounds like these few centuries are contemporaneous. But the stuff did happen. It's historical. But the mythology itself, which is grounded in cultural norms, is not just made up stuff. It represents a people's understanding and explanation of all sorts of phenomena, and it's grounded into the history and culture of the people. They don't just make shit up. This is the most ignorant take that a person could... And you're an independent historian? Independent historian, and you don't understand that mythology isn't just a bunch of bullshit stories, but it's strongly grounded into the culture and history of the people that create these stories. And a lot of them are connected to real events. They're a way to explore the perspective that they had onto reality. Independent historian.
When has being historically accurate about mythology. When have they ever cared about that? Did they not see gods of Egypt?
Yeah, and it was a shit show. Gods of Egypt is a shit show also because of the race swapping, which I disagree with because I don't want anything to be race swapped.
What the heck? They can't even get being historically accurate about Egyptian costumes correct. You have flipping Egyptian slave drivers, which once again is another fallacy they made up, wearing pharaonic headdresses.
Oh, so you do care about historical accuracy. So why, okay, the historical accuracy of the costumes of the Egyptians matters, but they being historically accurate about the costumes, meaning the actual battle armor, of the ancient Greeks is stupid. What about this double standard?
In the modern day, they're still doing it. Yeah, even modern Egyptians do that. You know what I mean? We are the Egyptians and they're all lined up, all wearing the pharaonic headdress. Like, you lot don't even understand the culture that you're grifting off. Yeah.
Grifting, this is the Egyptians we're talking about. Grifting over Egyptian culture, I love that. Man, this guy, goodness, are the Copts? What about the Copts, Coptic people? Are they also grifting? Because the ancient Egyptians were all black, according to you, right? Are the Coptic Egyptians grifting over? Oh my gosh, the audacity on this guy.
And then you're going to talk to the rest of the world about historical accuracy. It's like, stop being ridiculous. Because really what this is all about,
okay,
and I'm sure you guys have all picked up on this,
please.
What this is all about is the fact that a black woman, Lupita Nyong'o, a dark-skinned African black woman, has been cast as Helen of Troy, who is said to be the most beautiful woman who ever lived. Okay.
Fantasy. None of us have ever said that, and you should be ashamed of this. This is fantasy, you clown. This is fantasy. Nobody cares if this was an original African story. We complain about the race swapping and the inaccuracy thereof and the disrespect to the entirety of the country of Greece. That's what we complain about. But he has to change that because he can't use that unconquerable mind to attack the real argument. So he has to make one up that sounds 10 times worse. So his audience, who doesn't even watch my video or the videos of Nerdrotic and whatnot, they will believe this. They'll be like, oh, Metatron is angry because he doesn't want a black woman to be considered the most beautiful woman in the world. Who cares? If you think that Lupita Nyong'o, at this point, there are other black women that I think are more beautiful than her. For instance, Amala Ektunobi, she's more beautiful than Lupita Nyong'o, but whatever. If you think that that's the most beautiful woman in the world, more power to you. Who the hell cares? None of us. You know, he does the very opposite of what it is to stillman an opponent's intellectual argument. That's what you're supposed to do. But you don't. You have to make a straw man. I never said this. You don't know this. But as usual, you're doing the same thing that you do with history, King's Monologue. You take what someone says and you make up a fantasy version and say that that's the truth without any evidence. You do that with the ancient Egyptians being black, and you're doing that with me and the other creators that you are disrespectfully defamating here. Prove it. Prove that when we say Helen of Troy was not black, we disagree with the race swap. It's wrong. And by the way, we also say it would be wrong the other way around. So race swap an originally black character into a white person. I've always said this. But to you, I say this, but in reality what I mean is, oh, I don't care if you race swap black people, who cares? What I'm really angered about is that a black woman, not a white woman, is being said to be the most beautiful in the world. Fucking prove it. You can't, because it's not true. It's a fabrication of your mind, unconquerable. But as always, you state facts without evidence. Exactly what you do with your history and historical interpretation. Zero evidence.
According to this mythology, okay, and people do not want to see that kind of titleage given to a black woman, nonetheless an African black woman who
completely made up. He's completely made up. I never said this. None of us ever said this. Liar.
Wears her hair naturally and has nonetheless an African black woman who wears her hair naturally and has natural African beauty.
Who even cares about how she wears her hair? What else do I don't not like? Her earrings? What about the dress she was wearing? What about the makeup she was putting on? Do I have a problem with that? Because since I never said anything like this. At this point, guy can read my mind. What else don't I like about this? The way she walks? Is that also a problem that I have with Helen of Congo? Is it?
Without the need for external kind of like, you know, she doesn't put on loads and loads of makeup. She just, I mean, that's her skin. That's her pure skin. You can see it in the thumbnail.
Seriously, this guy's fixation with skin sometimes, both, by the way, because he's fixated in a negative sense with white skin, and he's fixated in a obsessed positive sense with black skin, in his own words, packed with melanin. He freaking loves it. I mean, anyone is into whatever you like. I don't even care. It's just that it's weird. Because what does this have anything to do with the casting? And even more so with my racism.
Right, this is a woman who is comfortable with her African hair, comfortable with her African features, is
Good for her.
universally regarded as a very beautiful woman.
Do you think Sydney Sweeney is a universally regarded beautiful woman? He'll never say that. I can say that. I can say Amala Ektunobi is a beautiful woman. Can you say that Sydney Sweeney is a beautiful woman?
And they hate the fact that that title is being given to a black woman.
Slander! Slander! You're a liar! No, unconquerable mind. What I hate is that they are race swapping an historically white European character because they hate us. That's what I hate.
And they're going to try and make it about everything else, this, that, and the other. But that's what it comes down to. And you've got to realize in every single one of these critiques, they say she can't be cast as Helen of Troy.
I double down on that.
Because she ruins it for me, or this, that, and the other.
I didn't say she ruins it with me. I said it was inaccurate. Which it is. It's a fact. He hasn't addressed that, by the way. Did you notice that? He hasn't said whether it's true or not that Helen of Troy... He only said it's a myth. Who cares? That's all he said.
But they won't ever justify it because the justification for that claim is just racism.
I didn't justify it. I made like 50 videos by now. I don't know, maybe 50 is hyperbole. I made like 20 videos where we went through all of the different historical analyses. I did justify. That's another fantasy. This guy he just lies for a living and gets paid for it. And I am the grifter, you are the grifter. Like literally, think about it. I did justify it. It's just that to him it's like, no, it's just racism. Okay, but you can't say that I did not justify it. At this point, at least in your grift, be consistent. Because this is the stupidest thing ever. I can debunk it in 15 seconds. I did justify it. So if anything, you should say, Metatron said he justified it, but it's a lie. Stupid, but at least it would be logically consistent. But you're stating I did not justify it, while I did. But because all of these minutes that we watched so far were all a preamble, so that he could finally come out and say it. Racism. Unconquerable mind, more like a weak mind, because if you were a strong, unconquerable mind, confident of your knowledge of the classics and the history, you wouldn't need this kind of mental manipulation here. You wouldn't need to poison the well and prepare your audience to perceive me as a racist who hates them for some reasons, so that then they will not listen to my historically backed arguments. You're doing this to undermine my arguments. You're doing this because you don't feel confident enough with attacking the positions that are based on the historical analysis and the interpretation of the texts in ancient Greece, or the logical consistency arguments, for instance, the ones where I say, how about we treat everyone equally and we don't race swap whether it be white or black. That is a very solid and strong position to have, and you cannot address it. Hence, you deciding to do this. Because your audience is clearly, a lot of them are going to be black. They're going to think, oh, Metatron hates me. Metatron thinks that I'm inferior to him, so I'm not going to listen to anything he says because he told me Metatron is racist. Well, to you, audience of him, I've seen you in the comments coming and telling me I'm a racist. I've seen you. I have nothing against you because you have been lied to. Please go watch the videos. Don't listen to this man. He's lying to you. He's grifting over you. Please come watch the videos. You will never find a single video where I ever say anything against black people. As far as I'm concerned, me and you, we are equal. Same with him, by the way, regardless of the fact that he has lost like any respect that I ever had with him, for him. But I still consider you an equal of mine. Genetically, racially, King's monologue. I don't think I'm superior to you, and I don't think you're superior to me, just on the basis of our ethnicity and race. In fact, I'm gonna say something now that I know he can't do. The only people I hate are people who are inherently evil and indecent, regardless of race. Otherwise, as a basis, I love all people. And it's only when people with their words and actions demonstrate that they are, in fact, deplorable and they do despicable things, that's when I reject them. So, I love white people. I love Asians. I love black people. As a default. Can you say you love white people? That's my challenge to you. Can you say it? That's checkmate right there. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure my ability to continue to tell it how it is, regardless of any possible backlash, please support this channel on Patreon. Any support helps me and my team of academics keep the channel strong and gives us the means to fight back against the political rewriting of history. Stand with us, form the wall, defend the truth.